It decides to go live. All right. What's up, everyone? This is Isaac with Hunger Smash Fitness coming to you once again with my co-host, John, over at My Block Strongest Man. Today we have several fantastic guests joining us. Gary's running a little bit late, but we have Andrew with Kratos Strength and Phil with Arsenal Athletics. And then the world's strongest veteran as Gary, or Daniel, sorry. So before we begin, we'll hop on over and just do some quick snapshots of what we've been working on and all that. So this is my YouTube channel. As you can see, I did a little bit with the Champions League, Giants Live, Deadlift Championship, and then the results and all that sort of stuff. So if you're interested, definitely give it a gander. Go over there and look at it. And then I did a fun little grip challenge thing with the 40-pound kettlebells. If you've never tried holding them upright over your hand and doing benching and stuff like that, it's actually kind of fun. The 40s were actually really easy, so I need to find like some 60s or something and give those a shot. Maybe those will be a little bit harder. But yeah, definitely subscribe to my channel, like this video, definitely, and then as soon as you're done with that, head over to John's channel over at My Block Strongest Man. Subscribe to him and definitely go and watch all of his videos. He's put out several hundred. So yeah, John, anything you want to say about your channel?
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, all I have to say is we bring Andrew on the channel, and he's just a magnet for wonderful people. Albert Brand's already in the comments, so what's up, Albert?
Yep. You guys go back a ways, right? Andrew and Albert, I think you guys have been buddies for a bit.
I met him probably in, I think it was January. I noticed that he moved into my town and just kind of sent him a message and asked him if he wanted to come train at my gym, or my garage gym. And he's like, oh, I'll come look at what you have or whatever. And I opened the doors and he was pretty surprised because I've got, like a full layout in my garage, pretty much anything you would need to train strongman, and there's not any strongman gyms or training anywhere in this area. So I just kind of took it upon myself to get as much equipment as I could get my hands on. And we do like strongman Saturdays. And I mean, it's all completely free, obviously. And I call it the Kratos Garage Gym, but it's more the Brand Strength Garage Gym.
Awesome. That's fantastic.
And in a sea of wonderful people, Andrew is really one of the great, nice guys and great guys and strongman. So I just wanted to give him a shout out there. So back to what I've been working on. So let's see. What have I been working on? We did our Teen Nationals show couple of weeks ago, or was it last week? And that show has happened. So we should actually do a review of that with those wonderful athletes. Big Laws broke the Denny Stone continuous walk record, which was previously held by Brian Shaw. So I thought that was a big deal. And a whole 86 other people did too who watched my video. So thank you, 86 people. Then, of course, we had the Strongman Champions League, which had a couple of different shows, both of which Travis Ortmeyer and Jonathan Cotton competed at. And Travis actually won Portugal. They teamed up together and came in 7th in Finland. But wow, some great, really interesting events there. And Isaac and I had them both on our show to kind of debrief and walk through all those events. So check that one out as well. Super, super interesting. And then, of course, this past weekend, the World Deadlift Championships as part of the Giants Live World Open. So I did a series of videos there predicting the deadlift portion and the show as a whole. And then, a result show for either one, which are my last two there. So check them out. You'll get full event by event recap and results. And on one of them, the deadlift one, I actually added a bunch of photos as well. So enjoy. That's what I've been working on.
I guess I'll go. There you go. I was still muted. I was going to say, yeah, your deadlift one definitely took off. 6,000 views in just 2 days. So that's pretty good. Good work there.
Yeah, one public service announcement, I'll just say, like, for any of you watching who, like, maybe were expecting to see video, which I can't show because it's copyrighted, have a heart. Like, don't hit the thumbs down for that reason. If you dislike it for legitimate reasons, go ahead and hit the thumbs down, but I can't do anything about that, and neither can Isaac, so just have a heart, that's all.
Awesome. And it looks like maybe Andrew's having some technical difficulties or something at the moment. Yeah, well, maybe let's go ahead and start with. So, Phil, do you go by car then, or what do you prefer?
Yeah, typically I just go by car. It's the last name. It's stuck since high school, football, military, and all through. So it's just easier that way.
Okay, perfect. Well, let's whichever of you want to go first. If you want to just discuss how you got into the military, which branch, all the different stuff that you would like to talk about military service and all that sort of stuff, and then how you transitioned into strongman from there, and where that's taken you so far.
Yeah, and for folks like me that are not veterans, I'd love to hear about life lessons that you were able to apply later in life.
Yeah, there you go. So maybe let's if you want to start with Daniel, and then we'll just kind of go through the list from there.
Yeah, sure. Daniel Pledger is my real name. So joined the U.S. Army, active duty, 2005. Served 7.5 years to 2012. Won with Iraq, 2009, 2010. Originally started. I was 20. Joined the Army then. And joined the Air Defense Artillery. I worked on Patriot systems, their early warning radar, and then did that for 4 years. Addition to the MP Corps, thought it would serve as getting a job on the outside. So did that, and then ended up getting a job. I work as a federal law enforcement officer at Bureau of Prisons now. So I've been doing that for 9 years. But, just so many life lessons to be had with the military, especially work ethic, mental toughness, especially, I mean, all that stuff transitions into strongman athletics. I've been doing strongman for 2 years now, and I'm kind of the new guy on the block, but I'm also one of the older guys, which is weird because I'm, just turned 37. So I kind of got into it late, but I was very fortunate when I started doing it. I went to the Arnold in 2019 and was able to see the deadlift on the elephant bar and all that stuff and half door. And so I got to meet all those guys, which was really cool. And it was funny. I was sitting there and people were coming up talking to me. He's like, "Why aren't you doing this? Like, you should, like, why are you not competing in this?" And, I was like, "Well, I don't know. Maybe I should give it a try." So I kind of watched it and enjoyed it. And I was like, "Well, I'm pretty strong already, so why not give it a try?" So I found a local strongman gym here in town, and I've been working at it ever since, and getting all the technique and stuff out of the way, and just slowly working on it and getting better every day. So hopefully that will work to my favor real soon.
And what was that first event that really got your attention in strongman?
Well, I mean, the first event I ever saw was the Arnold, which, I mean, if you're going to watch one live, that'd be the one to watch. I did a local show in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and ended up doing it and winning it, and went to USS Nationals in 2019, and learned a lot, as far as conditioning and where I was at and where I needed to focus on. My muscular endurance was nowhere where it needed to be. So I ended up taking like mid-pack out of 30 guys at 2019. And then 10 months later, I went to the Ode Haugen show in LA, and it was a Plat Plus show. I ended up winning that one against some very, very good competition there. And ended up winning by 1 point. So, I mean, that's how close it was. But that ended up getting me, a year into it, got me an invite to Arnold, which unfortunately due to the pandemic wasn't able to do it. So, here we are. I'm sitting here waiting on nationals. I've qualified for nationals because I just won Missouri Strongest Man about 3 weeks ago. And then, so waiting on nationals, and then I already got my Arnold qualifier. So just training and waiting right now.
Well, first of all, congratulations on winning Missouri's, and that's SC Nationals, right?
Yeah.
And when are those?
October 15th and 16th.
Good. Yeah, because they just had their teen nationals last week.
Correct.
That's awesome. I know it's funny because both my wife and I are veterans as well. And we always say that the military was a great experience, not necessarily because of the quality of experiences that you have, but by the sheer number that you have every single day. So it's always one of those things where you can learn a lot from the military, and especially if you're paying attention. Yeah, there's always a lot going on. So
yeah. I mean, and all sorts of things happen to you. There's always setbacks. There's always something going on. So if anything, it teaches you how to rebound, come back stronger.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. Well, thank you. Definitely. So Carr, what about you? Yeah, how'd you get started with the military? What branch and all that sort of stuff?
So I enlisted in the Army as well. I was 17 when I signed up, right out of high school, obviously. I went to the MP Corps as well, started off there. I wanted to do infantry. I tested high enough on the entry-level exams to go wherever, but it was 2007, and Iraqi freedom and enduring freedom was still going on. I wanted to go and be part of that. My family is a strong military history. My grandpa, my dad, my brother, my aunts and aunt. So I wanted to go in infantry, but my parents wouldn't allow that. They said I needed something that would relate civilian side. So I went MP because my recruiter was like, "Oh, you're like infantry, but you get more weapons and you get to drive instead of walk." So it sounded good to me. But basic training, AIT, I got pulled to DC for the Honor Guard, and I worked at the Arlington National Cemetery. I did not do Tomb Guard, but I did presidential security for the majority of my time there. I did the fight out. It was an honor and a privilege to work there and be a part of that at the nation's capital, but it was a big dog and pony show, a lot of dress up and stand around. I worked hand in hand with Secret Service on a lot of missions, and they'd complain, same as me, just be making a lot more money. So I was working as a personal trainer part-time before I got out. And when I got out, I had 96 days of terminal leave saved up. So I got out 3 months early, was taking full military pass, my full-time job at the gym, and just kept going with that for a few years. I was a trainer there at the gym right next to the Pentagon, and went to college for kinesiology, and was worked as a strength coach there with the D1 athletes, and accidentally got into strength sports from that. I was trying to just become a better strength coach, and any good program has squat, bench, and deadlift. And some of my friends were powerlifters, so I went and got my coaching certification for powerlifting through USAPL, and wanted to incorporate that in more. Got roped into doing my first powerlifting competition, and just general strength carried over a lot into the strongman realm, and started competing in strongman. After I'd owned a gym in Michigan and ran a facility, I started doing fitness equipment, and that's how I got into the actual competing in strongman. Because if you're going to sell equipment and work with pitch to somebody, you should probably know how it works. So I was at all the shows anyway. Things like the Arnold through powerlifting. I'd already been on the stage at the Arnold, running the Rogue stage with some of the guys there for the last 2-3 years prior. And then getting there and doing more of the strongman stuff, USS Nationals, Chris Vaccio, things like that, really helped me get involved with strongman more, be more competitive. My first competition was I competed as an amateur because I had no clue what I was doing. And the guys there were showing me how to hold the implements, how to do this, how to do that. And then the amateur weights were pretty much the same. We pulled the same truck. We had a truck pull, things like that. won the amateur class, and some of the guys that weren't amateur, that were in the amateur were upset that I was with them, and other guys were, I would have placed well, I think, in the open class at that as well. I think that was at Woody's gym in Kentucky. I'm trying to think what's the name of the gym. Give him a shout out, but I had a good time there, and I've done a few little shows, qualified for nationals. But when you qualify for nationals, US Strongman Nationals, by winning an amateur competition, I mean, I'm not sure how I would have done that year. I think it was 2019. 20 was canceled. 2020 was canceled, delayed until this year. I was out there for that just recently in, where was that at? It's out near Andrew. I forget the name of the city though. But I had a really good time just competing in general and being involved in the sport. And what really drew me to it and kept me in it, and I'm sure a lot of the other vets you'll talk to are going to say the same thing, it's that brotherhood, that unity. When you're in the military, you've got, everyone who's there has got your back, and no matter what, you're there together. It's who you work, you hang out with. And in Strongman, you've got a lot of that same camaraderie. You give each other shit. But you're there to support each other, and you can be neck and neck with somebody vying for that gold medal, that podium finish, and they're still going to cheer for you and, congratulate you when you get that final pull. And just that atmosphere has always been really great. And I think that's what keeps drawing me back. And I'm sure a lot of other people as well.
Yeah, I feel like that's a common theme among most of the people that we bring onto the live stream here, is that's kind of one of the things that got him into strongman, is that camaraderie and that sense of even if you're both vying for first or whatever else, like you're still backing each other up, and you're still supporting each other. And there have been a number of times in different competitions and stuff that I've seen where guys will just right away be right there helping, whoever. And whether you know them or you don't, even because my first competition that I did, I'd never done an Atlas stone before. And as soon as some of the other guys found out, we had a stone to shoulder for one of the events. And instantly a bunch of the other guys that were competing in the open class were like, well, hey, come on over here. We'll show you, some techniques. We'll show you how to put on the tacky, how to, everything. And it was awesome because I was like, all right, cool. I have no clue what I'm doing. So it was great having just different guys who had done several shows already just show up and be like, yeah, this is how you grab the stone. This is how, everything. And ever since then I've been hooked. It's awesome. I love it.
Yeah. And Carr, since you were at USS Nationals, you must have run into Andrew there because he provided the Atlas stones.
Yeah, actually, we hung out a lot there at Nationals when I was up there. I was talking to him a little bit beforehand. We've been, friends on social media for a while. And then when Nationals came up, I kind of had my hand in that jar with some things. And I know they were looking for stones. And I don't remember if I was the one specifically who reached out to him about it or not. But I definitely knew he was doing the stones. And we met up and we hung out most of the time there. But it was up there in his place or something. So it's cool. I actually got to see the Kratos Strength Gym and take a picture with all the stones. So meet the wife and raid his fridge. It was a good time.
That's awesome. Yeah, Andrew's a great guy. He and I have been friends on social media for a while as well. And I love promoting him too. I'd be wearing his t-shirt right now, but honestly, I wear them so much they're dirty right now, or else I'd have it on.
So, Carr, how'd you come up with Arsenal Athletics, and what was the whole process with getting your company started and all that sort of stuff?
I was actually initially got involved in the equipment side. I got a sponsorship from another company for a world championship in powerlifting, and I got involved with them through that. And I started helping up at the warehouse and got hired on and started doing product design and things there. But there was a disconnect. I had different values than some of my business partners there, because I ended up with an executive position with the American, and we had a disagreement on different ways things should be run. So I stepped down from my position there so I could do things on my own and really start to push quality and customer service instead of just run it for other reasons. So
how long have you had Arsenal right now? Because it's a newer company, right? It hasn't been out for that long.
Yeah, so Arsenal's official launch was at the barn happened last year. We had the Mammoth Bar unveiling at the Pinnacle Performance Gym when Joe Sullivan was out there. So we had the version 1.5 prototype out there. We saw a couple 1,003-pound pulls. It was sumo with straps. I don't know if it counts. Depends on who you ask. But that was out of Jamal Browner. But we did a little bit of beefing it up because we saw 1,000 pounds pulled on it, and it was a 28 millimeter shaft then. And we just upped it to 29 for the Gen 2 bar, and that bar has gotten a lot of publicity, a lot of attention lately, and it was meant to be our first big product, but it took so long with the steel to get in and everything with delays due to what was going on in the world at the time and what's still kind of going on, that we ended up getting sourcing, stocking, and selling out of supportive equipment before we ever got our first shipment of the Mammoth Bar completed. But we do supportive equipment now. We do everything from wrist wraps, knee sleeves, all that. We just got approval for the 2022 season to be approved with USPA for the supportive equipment, the sleeves, wraps, and everything. So that's a big move on for us. It's probably the first paid marketing we've ever done. Everything else has always been organic, and I take great pride in that. It's all word of mouth, customers coming back. And then our big thing is we like to support other vets as well, other veteran-owned companies. Skull with Steve Welch. Raw Grip is John something or other. It's another veteran-owned company. The liquid chalk is great. So if it's not something we make in-house, it's something we try to source from another veteran company. And I was actually trying to do my own liquid chalk, and then I was talking to John, and I was like, you know what? I'd rather give the money to you. I don't want to deal with it. You make a good product, and let me support you with that. So anything that's not an Arsenal brand is something that's made by another veteran company.
An honorable endeavor for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I'll have to look into the liquid chalk by Raw Grip. I've used a couple different liquid chalks, and it seems like, I don't know, most of the time they're okay. I like to just keep some in my gym bag, just because if the gym that I'm at doesn't have chalk, then that way at least I can have something on hand just in case. But yeah, I was telling you earlier too, like the Skull Smash Ammonia is the stuff that I've been using for a while, and I love that stuff. It's so it's cool seeing that you're selling it now too.
Yeah, the other thing I was going to ask you, Carr, is due to the world situation, you talked about steel and kind of the challenge there. You want to elaborate on that a bit? Because I had talked to Andrew about this. I had a strongman I was talking to who was looking for Fingal's fingers. So I reached out. Andrew's my fabricator buddy, right? So I said, hey, Andrew, is that something you could make? And so he said, I'd love to, but the price of steel is 4 times what it used to be. So is that something that's affecting you still? Or like, how are you working through that sort of situation?
Well, the cost of steel has gone up, like you said, like 3 to 4 times. The same with lumber and ammunition. Like if you can get it, it's expensive. So it's just tough to get. And then everything being slowed down, shut down as far as shipping, even with the Mammoth Bar specifically, our initial production, like we were supposed to have them in hand last October. And, I put that in, we're guaranteed that, or like they keep telling us, oh, it's good, it's going. Whatever. And then there's so many delays that kept happening. We didn't get them into customer hands until I think it was 4 or 5 months later. And I had a few prototypes on hand and a few customers that had the Gen 1 bar. Adam Dirks has the 1.5 prototype, and I paid to ship the bars that were completed and in the US to various locations, just so competitions that were already on the schedule and promised these bars could use them. So it was a big issue for a while, and the cost alone of the the shipping of the bars when we didn't. But I don't know, with the steel itself, I mean, if you want to have it, you have to pay it. But my biggest issue was that it was constantly pushed back. Same as with, wearing masks. It's this, we have to wear them again. And now it's just, because I'd put it out to everybody. Oh, we had, I think 20 pre-orders for these bars, and they retail for $850. So it's not a small, it's a big deal when you order one of these, and it's $350 shipping because it's a 10-foot long bar. You can fit 4 people on that bar and about 1,600 pounds in iron on the sleeves. So it's hard to visualize what a 10-foot bar is. But when you realize you've got, a normal barbell will almost fit between the sleeves on this. So it has to ship freight. So when you've got customers and all the customers are great and understanding, but I felt bad having to tell them repeatedly, oh, the thing I told you, yeah, we can't do that anymore. And the worst thing in the world is when you have to let somebody down and there's nothing you can do about it. Like, I would rather have personally failed everyone than have my word have to go back on my word because of something else that happened and be out of my control. And that always just made me feel even worse.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully that situation turns around. So, Andrew, it looks like you're back. Hey, buddy, we were talking about the price of steel. So I don't know if you remember, some time back I reached out to you. Somebody was looking for Fingal's Fingers. I think was it Wyatt Dawson? I forget now, but I reached out to you, and then you were explaining to me about how the price of steel has made things difficult. So we kind of got on that topic.
Yeah. Well, Andrew, while we have you as well, though, let's hear your story, how you got into the military, branch of service, all that sort of stuff as well.
Okay. Yep. Sorry, I stepped out for a few minutes. I went and hit the log quick and then the yoke, and then I figured I'd, get a workout in while you guys were waiting. Anyway, no, I'm in the air conditioning now in the house. I tried it out in the garage and it was just a bit of a disaster. So, yeah, I went into the military at 18 years old, Army infantry, 10th Mountain Division, and late 90s. So I'm kind of a lot older than all you guys, I think. You can see all the gray, but so 97 to 2000, and I was in Bosnia, Kosovo, Serbia, the Balkans area, and then got out and went to college. And I'm really new to strongman. I just started a few years ago, and I just happened to meet a guy by the name of Nick Brewer. He's Brewer Barbell on Instagram, but I was working out at a gym, and he offered me to come to his class. He was having a class at a CrossFit gym, and I tried it, and I fell in love with it, and then I kept going, and he ended up moving away, so the class got canceled, and that's kind of how I started my garage gym. I loved it so much I wanted to share it with everybody, and just it kind of grew from there and into the garage and Strongman Saturdays and stuff like that. But I'm not much of a competitor because I'm trying to get the business going, and I work full time, and there's just not a lot of time for me to train. I don't do it a lot, recently, especially the last year or two with everything going on. But, one of the first people I met was this guy from Arsenal Athletics. And, he kind of took me under his wing, and, I met him, and then I met Al, and it just kind of stemmed from there. And I mean, it just, all the great people in the strongman community it's just awesome. I mean, you don't meet people like that every day, if hardly ever, and that many people, in one particular sport or strength sport or whatever you want to call it. But it's been great. I mean, and I've only been in business for about 8 months, so there's been a lot of struggles so far. But and as John mentioned, I'm a fabricator. I've been a fabricator for probably about 15 years. So our main focus will be, fabricating equipment. But currently, the steel prices have gone up 200%, and they're still rising. So it's a real big issue for us right now. especially how small we are and how new we are, we don't have any steel or raw material inventory that we can work off of, and it's made it pretty difficult. But that's kind of our main focus. But for now, we're making Atlas stones, and apparel is kind of our big thing right now. I love doing that. And Al Brand Strength, he's kind of my computer guy. He does all the website stuff for me, and I kind of give him all my ideas for the apparel, and he brings them to life for me, because I don't, obviously, as you can tell, I don't know a whole lot about computers. So he does a lot of the computer work. And then my engineer, his name's Aaron. He's a Marine Corps veteran, and he does all the like CAD work and CAM work, and he'll be the one doing all the welding and all that type of stuff too. So I'm just kind of more of the pretty face. Everybody else is doing the grunt work. So,
by the way, on the comment about age, that's why I shave, so you don't see any of the gray. That's where all my gray is.
There you go.
I don't know. Is it just me? But when I went on your website, it said that I could use a coupon code BRAND30 for 30% off. Is that special for me or for everybody's browser?
That's for everybody. That's wide open all the way to the floor right now. Yeah, Brand Strength 30. Yeah.
Thank you, Albert.
Yeah.
Thank you, Andrew.
Yeah, right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. There's I try to come up with as many designs as I can, and try to keep it fairly fresh, and add stuff, here and there. And I've got some projects going on with I'm doing some stuff for Santa and a couple other gyms, making clothing for them, and it's a lot of fun, and it keeps me busy, at least until the fabrication stuff can get back into full swing. But yeah, and like you said, John, Wyatt Dawson, he's asked me for a few things, but it's so rough right now that it's almost impossible to keep the costs down as high as the raw material is. It's very difficult.
Yeah, it's kind of I find that as one of my strengths. I like putting good people together, So when he asks, I said I got a buddy Andrew who can, if possible, help you out. So I like to put good people together.
Yeah, same here. I love finding good people, interacting with them, and Wyatt's a great guy, and yeah, hopefully eventually I can help him out.
Absolutely. And by the way, for anybody who has not tried Andrew's apparel yet, the blue shirt, I have that one, and I have the black one as well, and they're super comfortable, awesome for working out. Andrew, I was saying when you were off camera for a while, the only reason I'm not wearing it now is because I wear them so much they're dirty right now, but yeah, they're awesome.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm glad you like them.
Yeah, you should check out my I know you watch my Instagram reels when I do my workouts in the woods. You'll see the Stone Over Bar. I was wearing your t-shirt and Stone Over Bar.
I saw that. That was awesome. Yeah.
So, Andrew, do you have any big projects coming up? Because I know, like, Car has the Mammoth Bar and all that sort of stuff. Do you have anything in the works that you're just waiting for the time to release or anything like that?
I wouldn't say a lot of major projects. I mean, they're all important, but most of them are kind of all apparel related. And I have, as soon as I can get my hands on some more lead and shot, I'm going to be making big stones for the Dirk's crew. They like the really big ones. So that's always in the mix. When I dropped off the 559 for him, he wanted to know when he could have a 600. So they like their stones over there.
That sounds fun. I mean, the heaviest stone I've ever been able to play with was a 385, and that thing, it's fun, but it's one of those things where you're like, after a little bit, you're like, all right, I can do this over the bar several times. I need a bigger stone. Like I need the next one in line. Like, my problem right now is I don't have anywhere to put anything like that, and I'm working out at a little commercial gym or whatever. So I've talked to them about buying some stuff and just storing it there. and they finally agreed to let me put. I have a 335 something like that Cerberus, the heavy bag. So that's sitting in the corner, but the only time it ever moves out of the corner is when I go and play with it, because most of the other people that are working there, they're not training strongman. They're,
Right.
most of them just hop on the
Sure.
elliptical for a while and head out. And
Yeah.
I was like, I'd love to put some stuff, some more stuff in the corner there, but everything's so clean and tidy and all that. They don't want stones over there.
Yeah.
But
yeah. It definitely gets messy. That's for sure.
yeah, someday my long term, because I'm going back to school. I'm trying to finish up my doctor of physical therapy right now, and my long term goal is I want to open up like a gym clinic, basically, and so I can have my PT clinic and then have a because there's no powerlifting or strongman gyms or anything like that out here, and it'd be awesome to have just a grungy, dirty, massive gym that you can throw weights around in, and have a bunch of stones and tires and everything else. And so I'd love to get something like that set up. And so, in 6 years or whatever it is, when I'm finally ready to get all that started, maybe I'll contact you and get something set up and talk to Carr as well. And we can get a whole bunch of bars and all that sort of stuff. But
I have my ultimate goal is to I've got a 24-inch mold, and I want to make a 700-pound stone, and I'm just going to make it, and it's going to be the home of the 700-pound stone, and open invite to anybody in the world that wants to come give it a try. Just for fun. It'll be sitting there for till the end of time, but it's neat though, and I have pretty much any mold imaginable, so I can make a lot of stuff. And I have a 471 and a 493 in the garage right now, and Al's been working on trying to get those loaded onto the platform I made for him. So
I don't know, Andrew. We're pretty friendly with Travis Ortmeyer. Maybe we'll send him your way.
Yeah, we could make him a real big one.
If he heard that you had a 700-pound stone, he might make a trip out to your gym just to give it a go.
Right.
Oh man.
Well, what's funny about Travis, I'll tell you a quick story. So in March, I had the fortune of him being my guest judge at my competition, and the last event was a stone run. And trying to load stones in front of the Texas Stone Man was it was a little nerve-wracking at that point. So that was an interesting one.
I've picked his brain a couple different times now, specifically about stones, and it's awesome because every time I talk to him, he has more pointers and more just stuff where I was like, oh, I haven't thought of that before. Okay, that's a good thing. He definitely has a gift for it that not a lot of people have, which I would love to be able to mimic at some point, but I don't know I think you kind of have to be born with it a little bit.
Yeah, it really is a whole different type of animal, stones. It's a really unique thing, being able to lift them and be really good at it.
Yeah, we actually had him on our last live stream, and because I had someone ask me a question a little bit ago, and they were wondering how much does deadlift carry over to Atlas stones? Is there much relation? And I told him at the time, I was like, in my opinion, not much. If you're strong enough to pick a 600-pound deadlift, but your technique sucks or your arms are short or whatever, then you're going to struggle with stones. And so it was cool bringing Travis on, and I asked him the same question. And you can watch the live stream too, but he actually had some pretty good answers to it. Here you go. And Gary just got here as well.
What's up, Gary?
What's up, Gary? How you doing?
Sorry about the delay there. Amazon asks a lot of you.
Yeah. Well, now that you're here too, well, Gary, let's hear a little bit about how you got started. Oops.
There.
Oh, you're breaking up, Gary.
You have a little bit of lag going on.
Hey guys, how's everybody doing?
Good. Yeah, so Gary, maybe just talk a little bit about yourself and how you got into the military, what you did in the service and all that sort of stuff, and then how you got into strongman from there. Well, all right. You might have a poor Wi-Fi connection at the moment.
Technical difficulties.
Just a second. I'm gonna shoot him a message real quick. You guys keep.
So what's everybody's favorite event to do at a competition? I mean,
I was just going to ask that question. You read my mind.
So I'm my favorite's moving events. That's probably what I'm best at is the yoke and the farmers. I got a pretty decent grip. As far as the stones, you know, I picked up a 400-pound stone several times, but that's the biggest we got in the gym. So the next step was, you know, the 425 and the 450, and just working up from there. But definitely moving events is where my forte is. So,
you ever do a moving event that was a team event, like a two-man team?
No, I've never done any type of team events.
Yeah, like we were talking about Travis and Jonathan Cotton before. They did some like really interesting looking stuff at Strongman Champions League. There was one where they were both doing a Zercher on either side of a non-fixed bar. So like they had to balance it properly, and they're carrying farm equipment. It was really, really awesome to watch, and a new challenge for sure.
Yeah, and I think that may be something, you know, strongman's getting away from. A lot of it's starting to get a little more standardized, and you know, especially at the bigger shows. So you got to kind of wonder, you know, let's throw in some weird stuff and let's see who's strong. You know, everyone's got an overhead and a deadlift, but you know, let's throw something weird in there. You know, I'd like to see that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you know, I have a bar in the garage and I'll do deadlift from time to time, but I have way more fun going into the forest and lifting stones. Like I don't want to lift a bar. I want to lift weird things, you know, logs and stones.
Maybe Andrew and Carr, maybe that can be your niche, is just creating weird stuff, you know, selling that to strongman competitions.
I did have a request a few weeks ago from a guy that lifts Denny stones, and he wanted me to find natural stones and then, you know, make the ring handles for him. But it's hard to find natural stones, and you can go to like a landscaping company, but you know, and then you got to bring a scale with you and figure, you know, it'll be a little tricky, but it's an interesting challenge though, for sure.
Well, Gary, so now that you're back with us, everyone else had their chance to talk about how they got into the service with branch of service, some of the highlights of their, you know, time and all that, and then how they got into strongman from there. So, yeah, if you want to, while you're here for a bit, if you want to talk about, yeah, everything about that.
Sure. Yeah, man. Thanks for having me, guys. Sorry about the delay there. I got a little delayed there at the end of shift with Amazon and had to fix some things before I could walk out of the building and hand it off to the night shift. And then I got home and my internet wasn't working. So sorry about that. I joined the Marine Corps right out of high school. Here, I grew up in Spokane, Washington. Joined the Marine Corps right out of high school there in about 2005, 2006 era there, right at the end of kind of the push there in Fallujah. Was slotted for recon right out of boot camp. Started training there at 1st Recon Battalion and got hurt. I had to have a hernia repair done. Got jumped over to kind of a jump platoon setup, deployed with them to Fallujah and the surrounding areas that year. Came back, was supposed to go back to school, but unfortunately I had put on a little weight, which big guys tend to do when they're not working out hard enough, and got slotted back to the grunts instead after that. Did another tour to Iraq after that, left the service shortly thereafter as one of those guys who never had an issue with the physical PT side of it, but never once made body fat, because even at 265 pounds and 30 pull-ups, 20% body fat was not 18% body fat, and there it was. So got out, came back to Spokane, did some work in hospitality, messed around in college for a bit, decided that wasn't for me. An old buddy from Recon was running with a couple of the Blackwater teams and had transitioned over into Triple Canopy, hit me up, let me know what was available. Transitioned back into that for 3 or 4 years, working in the Middle East. Ended up on a low-profile team at 265 pounds, same as I was when I was in the Marine Corps. Guys gave me a pretty hard time about that because it was 8 of us stuffed into a BMW 7 Series. And so it was always the running joke that if we actually had to abandon the other vehicles, that I had to walk back to the embassy or wherever it was, because nobody else could fit in the vehicle if I was in it. Kind of finished up with that, met my wife, had a kid, decided that maybe wasn't the direction I wanted to continue my career pathways. And I'd always lifted during that time. I played football in high school and still play football on and off when the opportunity presents for like flag teams and stuff like that. But a buddy at the gym, James Shumpert, one of the IFB pros here in Spokane, was lifting with me one day and happened to mention like, hey man, you're kind of strong. Have you ever thought about competing? And I was like, no, I just like lifting. It's fun and it keeps me stable. And he convinced me to do a strongman show here in Spokane. It was 2019, and it was a Strongman Empire Classic. And I went in and had a great time. Got third, resoundingly got stomped by the guy who got first place, a local guy named Chad. But it really kind of ignited a fire in that I enjoyed it. I had a good time with it, and it gave me more than just I want to lift weights because I like to lift weights. So I partnered with a couple guys. We would lift on and off and bouncing in and out of town, going back to the Middle East on and off as needed. And then about a year later, really got serious into the lifting, started spending 2-3 hours a day in the gym. Started eating right, went back to the Strongman Classic in 2020 and won it pretty resoundingly. I won 5 out of 6 events, and the only one I lost was the carry event because big guys don't have very good cardio when they're training on their own. I figured out that picking up weights was very different from picking up a sandbag, and learned that lesson pretty hard when I couldn't finish the event. But after that, I hired a coach, a guy local to the area named Matt Hunter. And I've been with him for about a year now. And probably one of the better decisions I made in Strongman was transitioning from kind of doing my own programming and eating to letting somebody kind of program based off of where my lifts were at. I had reasonable success in like deadlift and squat, getting myself to a 600-pound deadlift and roughly around a 600-pound squat. I was close, and with a year with Matt, I'll probably do 800 in both of those this year. By the end of the year is the goal. So that really ended up kind of cementing that I enjoyed this sport. My biggest drawback is at 6 feet tall, my arms are a little short and my legs are a little short. So some of those higher stone platforms tend to give me a little trouble from time to time. As I found out in America's Strongest Veteran, couldn't do the stone series fast enough to beat the other guy, even though I'd won all the other events. So it's been a good journey. I've enjoyed it. And it really just gives me something to do. A lot of guys I know, most of us are vets. A lot of guys end up drinking their lives away when they're struggling. And I was on that path. I was headed down that road, crushing way too much bourbon every night after work. And the gym kind of fixed that. It gave me something else to do. And it got rid of that want to go and just drink a bottle and go to bed, get up and go to work and make more money to do it over again. So now I spend all my money on lifting equipment from Andrew and, shirts and stones and dumbbells and travel, because there's not enough competitions in my area. So I have to go find ones to go to.
Yeah, so Gary, I'm just wondering what your favorite strongman event is, and I'm just going to preface this by saying, with Andrew and Carr in the room, the only possible right answers are axle, deadlift, or Atlas stones.
So I actually hate anything to do with the axle. Every time I train with it, I've torn a muscle in some way, shape, or form, and it's literally my least favorite implement on the planet. That being said, my favorite strongman event is definitely the log clean and press. And I really enjoy it. It's a good time. I like to hit myself in the face when I roll it up my chest, and then just go for that massive press. Second favorite strongman event would definitely be, I've really been enjoying the Circus dumbbell overhead lately. I just got a new one. It should be here soon to train with it. But the balance required to get it pressed overhead at some of those heavier weights kind of throws you off a little bit. You wouldn't think it'd be that difficult until you're trying to press it off your neck and it knocks you clean over.
Yeah, you got a plate loadable one coming?
Yeah, I ordered one from Texas Strength Systems.
What's the heaviest circus dumbbell you've done so far?
I got 200 up in training the other day, but we've only done it a couple times, and the only one we have is one of the Texas 10-inchers. So mine's going to be a 12 or a 13, I can't remember. So that'll probably change it, and we'll see what we can do. But I don't know. I think heavier than that is definitely a possibility with some practice.
Yeah, so the other thing I was wondering, and Isaac, if you could share the screen, we like to ask strongmen that come on our channel, hey, what's the coolest looking trophy you've ever received? And I saw this on your Instagram, and I had to ask you about this.
Yeah, man. So that was the first place trophy for Black Frost 2020 back in January of this year. It's held annually in Boise, Idaho, at the Berserker Strength and Conditioning Gym. This was a competition that my coach picked out that he also wanted to compete at. So he convinced me to do it with him so he wouldn't have to drive down there by himself. And so we headed down there, and it had some cool events. It had a Hercules hold that I had never done before, and I thought was a great time. It was supposed to have a fingers event, but the apparatus got messed up somehow, and they weren't able to get it fixed in time. But that axe was the first place trophy, and it's pretty proudly hung on my wall in the garage above some of my other equipment, along with a Sasquatch trophy I got for a grip competition last year.
That's awesome. Grip competitions can be really interesting. I saw my buddy Costin Sutton, who's actually the state rep for South Carolina for Strongman Corp. He did one recently, and they had a gauntlet. Like, he had to pick up like 20 different implements. I had never seen something like that before, but it's really interesting to watch.
Yeah, those grip competitions are something else. That you think, oh yeah, I'm a good deadlifter, I'll be fine, and then somebody hands you an axle and says double overhand, pick that up, and you get up to that 400-pound range, which is super easy on a barbell, and you only get it 6 inches off the ground, and it slides out of your fingers.
Yep. Or or you go to a Giants Live event and you skip a high deadlift weight on a traditional deadlift and then don't make the next weight. Sometimes that happens too.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, well, how's your hand size? Because I know, I'm 6'5", but I think they're like 3XL hands or something. So even on an axle, I can usually at least pinch the tip of my thumb. So that probably helps out a little bit more than with most other people, I think. But
man, not 3X. We'll say that. I don't have 3X hands, brother. They're definitely bigger than a large, but they don't do me a lot of favors when it comes to some of those larger grip events. I have to really focus on making sure my forearms are prepared on the bigger grip events.
So because you're not too far from me, I don't think, because I'm just outside of Spokane here as well. We'll have to meet up sometime, and I know, because I was saying, I've talked about, I go to 360 on the weekends as well. Do you have an actual gym in Spokane that has strongman equipment, or do you mostly just train out of your garage then?
So here in Spokane, if I need to go to a gym or I'm craving some not in my garage time with other people around, I'll head to Go the Distance, which is it's kind of a bodybuilding gym. It has a little bit of strongman equipment, but very little. Most of the strongman equipment I train with is either here at my house or at another buddy's house in Spokane.
Isaac, you'll have to bring one of these and compare grip strength.
Well, working in physical therapy, we had the hand dynamometer in the clinic there, and I could always max it out. So I've got a pretty decent grip. It maxed out at 200 pounds, and I could always squeeze it where it would just go to dashes across. So
yeah,
I'm not completely sure what my grip strength is.
I cannot max it out. The instructions say over 120 is strong, so we can try. Let's try it. Let's give folks something to see. That's a PB for me.
That's pretty good. No warm up or anything. No chalk. You just.
You know me, man. I'm terrible with best practices. I never warm up.
Oh man. So what's everybody's least favorite event? I mean, we've heard that Gary doesn't like Axel. What about everyone else?
Axle clean and press is probably my least favorite. Just the belly to the shoulder, being 6'4", 360 pounds and old, my shoulder mobility is not what it used to be. So I'm actually going to physical therapy to kind of get that fixed. So hopefully in the near future that'll be we'll turn it into one of the better events. And then one of the events that I just don't train enough is stones, just because getting the tacky on, and it's a whole day affair when you're training stones, so we just kind of avoid it. We'll do sandbags over bar instead of stones, but yeah, definitely axle clean and press is probably my least favorite.
I'm going to make a prediction. Somebody here is going to say duck walk.
So I'm bad at the clean and any type of clean. If I can get it to my shoulders, I can press it, but I'm not really opposed to the log or the axle. My least favorite is any type of front-loaded carry, not being able to breathe, and it always blows up my lower back and glutes and hits me where I don't want it to hit me, and it's always miserable. And I hate moving events anyway, and not being able to breathe because it's on my diaphragm. It just makes it so much worse. And I mean, I'm a smaller, I guess, a strongman in some sense, so I can move better, but my cardio is still shit. I walk around it like 285 right now, but I have a 4-month-old, and training has been a very low priority. And I also work with the BOP now, so for the last 4 months. So that's, where my primary source of income comes from. But I'm fat and slow and hate not being able to breathe when I'm trying to run, and hate running. So.
Yeah, Car, it's interesting that you said that if you can clean it, you can press it. I hear that a lot from strongmen, and like a layman like myself, we don't work that way. So I'm wondering, like, why is that? Like, if if I can clean something, that doesn't guarantee I can press it. But a lot of strongmen are the way that you are. So is it a structural type thing? Like, why is that so prevalent?
For me specifically, I think my form is just terrible. I can't clean. I can rep well over 300 for a push press, but I can't get a 300-pound log to my chest for the life of me. But I've done it before, but it was, third attempt struggle and almost fell to do it. But I really just think it's a form thing, and I don't train it specifically. So that's, I think, why, I accept that fact, but I don't know if that's the same case with a lot of other people.
And what about you, Andrew? What's your least favorite event?
For me, it's got to be the overhead stuff too, just because I'm old. I mean, like the log or the axle, getting it up to the chest is fine, but once I get, getting up to the overhead part, the shoulders are what get me, and a lot of it is not.
Can you put your hands overhead, Andrew? Can you do that?
I can actually, a little bit, but yeah, those are a killer for me, and a lot of it's not doing the proper things like warming up and taking care of myself and things like that, so that would probably help.
That makes sense. So we have a comment here saying from Jennifer Jenkins, says, any injuries you guys have suffered, and if so, how did you recover? So whoever wants to go first on that, I don't know who all's been injured here.
Well, that just happens to be my fiance. So she's in Florida right now watching.
Welcome, Jennifer.
Yeah, I'll let you guys handle that one. She knows my dirty secrets.
Well, our other guests would probably love to hear from you as well, though, Dan. So if you have anything that you want to talk about, go for it. If any of your injuries you don't want to discuss, then that's your call as well.
As far as from the Army, you having the typical rucking, knee issues, lower back issues, stuff like that. Really, doing strongman has helped me so much recovering from those. Whenever I wasn't working out, and just not doing anything and being a lop, I hurt way more then than I do now. So I think just staying active and continuing to have the blood flow into those areas and stuff really has helped me overcome a lot of that. I have bone spurs in this shoulder, so just keeping that mobility and doing what I can. I get massage therapy bi-weekly and chiropractic care at least once a month. And then I'll taper that up as I'm getting closer just to stay injury free. But, as far as the lower back issues, which I'm sure we've all suffered from it at one point in time, doing the strongman and doing the core strength stuff and the yoke walks and stuff, I didn't realize how horrible my core was until I started, doing a yoke walk, and I looked like a newborn baby walking. So just doing that and just staying fit, man. I mean, that's the key to it. Once you don't do it anymore, you lose it. So
Daniel, what's the first yoke that you did? What did it weigh? Because I've never tried one before, and I don't even know if I could do an empty yoke.
I think we geared it up to like 650, and I think I walked with it. I mean, you talk about walking 2 or 3 steps and dropping it and then doing it again. I think I probably made it 20 feet, and I was like, I don't know what's wrong. Like, this should be easy, and I've done 1,000 pounds. I've walked, 10 feet with 1,000 pounds probably 6 months ago, and wrecked my central nervous system because I wasn't ready for it. But yeah, right now 800 pounds is just another day. So, but yeah, newborn baby all day long for trying it.
So what about you, Gary? Have you had any crazy injuries or anything? And if so, what have you done to recover from them?
Yeah, man. I mean, I think we all get dinged up here and there, depending on what we're doing. The most recent one I had was 2 months out from US Nationals. I tore a muscle, one of the 5 in my left forearm, which completely trashed my grip strength in my left arm for quite a while. We did basically started strapping up for anything that was holding weight in my left hand for quite a while during prep there, just to kind of try and let it recover. We stopped doing a lot of bicep. We stopped doing a lot of overhead pressing with anything but like bands and stuff. I did 2 different PRP treatments, which I don't know if it actually worked, but it made me think it worked because it felt so good. So I'm going to call it that it works. And I swear by those now. When I get dinged up for big competitions like that, I'll definitely look at that again. Other than that, the biggest ever injury I've really had outside of the normal stuff for that Daniel mentioned that you bring home from the military with you was a rotator cuff injury that I damaged when I was really just kind of figuring out weightlifting outside of having a football coach tell me that all we ever needed to do was bench, power clean, and squat, and we'd be totally fine and have all the basics we needed. And then as I got better at some of those things, my tendons and support muscles, which I wasn't doing any of at that point, did not keep up with the fact that I was benching upwards of 400 pounds at the time. And I quickly tore a rotator cuff. And that was, I think I battled that for 2 or 3 years before I really realized that I needed to stop what I was doing, start over, and rebuild all the support muscles around my rotator cuff. And once I kind of figured that out and rebuilt the shoulder muscles around it, I've never really had a problem with it since. But that took some trial and error of pain to figure out that, yes, my chest might be able to bench 400 or 500 pounds. My shoulders cannot support a 400 or 500 pound bench press. And now I don't really have that problem anymore.
Yeah, it's interesting because the PRP, platelet rich plasma, I've actually had a lot of patients that have had that done, and it's one of those really interesting things where for some people it doesn't really seem to do anything, and then other people, they get, one injection and everything clears up instantly. And it makes sense because because I'm assuming they drew your own blood and then centrifuged it out and then injected it into the site and all that. Yeah. And it's really interesting because you're re-injecting your body's own nutrients into the area where it needs it. And especially if that area, is not getting proper, circulation and everything else normally due to, injury and all that sort of stuff, it can be amazing. And the first time I injured my knee, they were considering doing that. And then when they finally did the MRI, they were like, oh, well, you actually have hamburger inside your knee. There's no meniscus. There's no and so they're like, no, you need to go to surgery. There's we can't just do a little injection. It's got to be a little bit more severe. So yeah, that was the first time I'd ever run into it. And I researched it a bunch more. And then now that I've worked in physical therapy, I have people coming in with that all the time. And it's one of those really fascinating things where for some people, it fixes everything instantly, it seems like. And like, if it works and if you can go back to living a happy life, go for it. But did the military pay for it, or did you have to pay out of pocket, or how did that work?
Yeah, I paid out of pocket on my end for that one. That was just about 6 or 8 months ago that I first tried that. And I remember they had spun the blood, separated it out, enriched it, had it in the shots to go ahead and inject it. And the RN looks at me and she goes, you're a pretty big guy. Are you one of those guys that doesn't want any of the localized anesthetic and you're a tough guy? You don't need that. You just want me to stick this in there. And then she held up the needle and I went, I mean, normally I would say yes, but that 4-inch needle looks massive. So go ahead and do whatever it is you need to do. And they used a localized anesthetic. And then she plunged it 3.5 inches into my elbow. And I went, wow, I'm really glad I said yes to that because it still hurt, even with the local anesthetic. It was an uncomfortable twinge there at the bottom. But she did mention that every once in a while she gets somebody in there that goes, no, I'm too tough for that. And by about the third injection, they're begging for the localized anesthetic for the rest of them. So it's pretty funny.
Yeah, the needle that they use is ridiculous. And it makes sense because they have to actually get it into the area where it's injured. So they can't use one of the little IV needles or something like that. Like they need the big hunking needle to get it all the way in there. And if you use a small gauge needle, you're going to be sitting there for an hour and a half for each injection. You know, they need to just get it in there basically. So yeah, it's pretty intimidating looking at some of those instruments. You're like, I wonder who figured out what gauge to use. So Andrew, what about you? Any you've talked about your shoulders a little bit and everything, but any major injuries that you've had, and what have you done to recover from that?
I had a fairly bad one. I didn't tear my hip flexor, but it was really close to being torn. My hip flexor, my TFL, and my middle gluteus. So what the treatment was deep tissue massage and a adjustment every week for it was probably almost 2 months. It got to the point where I couldn't get out of bed and I just kind of flop onto the floor and then I'd get on my knees and crawl to the bathroom. And you try to hold on as long as you can, and I couldn't take it anymore. So I just finally went in, and enough's enough, but it doesn't sound terrible, but I mean, it was pretty rough. And then you have all that time where you can't work out and then you get frustrated, and it one of those things.
You ever get recurring pain from that?
Oh, you're muted, Andrew.
I do in my hip, definitely. If I don't stretch it, or if I'm not like walking and keeping it warm, it tends to get sore pretty easy. So yeah, there's a little bit of a lingering effect on that.
Yeah, do you know strongman doc Todd McDougall? If you don't, I'll put you two together. He's in Indiana, but you may cross paths one day, and he's for sure at the top of his field.
I just talked to him on the phone on Friday. Yeah, he's a really good guy. I like him a lot. I try to talk to him whenever I can, but he's awesome.
Yeah, we had him on the channel a couple of weeks ago, and tons of fountain of information, really.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, what about you, Carr? Any big injuries, and what have you done to recover from it?
I've been pretty lucky as far as injuries in competition and training. I've got the spinal injury that kind of separated me from the military for good. I didn't want to stay in anyway for the most part at that point, but so I started competitively lifting after that, after hospitalization and a few epidurals and all this other stuff. But how was it? Chiropractic, physical therapy, even cupping, things like that. I think anything, if there's in the PRP, if you think it's going to work, if you think it works, if you're actively doing something, I think it helps a lot with the mentality of it. So even if it doesn't, if there's no science behind it, a lot of people, chiropractic is this or that. But if you as the patient think it's helping, or you're working towards your recovery, I think the mental aspect of that is huge. But for me, with my back, like deadlifts are probably the only thing or the most consistent thing that has caused an issue with my back in the past. And even when it's acting up and I can't tie my shoes, I'm able to belt up and squat because the pressures hold me together. But the old adage was an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And since I started competitively lifting after my injury, I've always been huge on form. I coach it, I practice it. So just again, preventing it and doing what little you can to rehab it if and when it does happen, whatever it is, mentally, physically. So.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because at the PT clinic where I was at, we had a bunch of prior Army, especially in the area. And I think I got to meet all of them due to knee and back issues, just mostly from rucking. And it's interesting because, I was Navy, and it seemed like so many of the guys always had messed up knees because they're wearing steel-toed shoes, steel-toed boots, running around on steel all the time. And everybody would start complaining about their knees hurting walking around on the ships and stuff. And it's just one of those things where it's wear and tear. It's just how the military handles it, I guess. But you just suck it up, take your Motrin, and keep going. That's at least that's their policy for the most part.
If water and Ranger candy can't fix it, nothing will.
Yeah, exactly. Or you're not taking enough. Then that's their other policy. If 800 milligrams doesn't work, have you tried 16? Then go from there.
And something I've pushed with my athletes, and you might be able to confirm with that, anything you can do for rehab, like physical therapy stuff, anything you can do for rehab, you can do as prehab. And I like to incorporate a lot of that stuff in with warm-ups and stuff, and general warm-ups, mobility, things like that, obviously. But if you can do it for rehab, you can do it for prehab.
Yeah, and I think that's fantastic words of wisdom, because even throughout the day, I mean, if you have a little bit of downtime, you just grab some bands and just work on those, outside, inside, all that sort of stuff. It helps a ton. I've been lucky enough to avoid shoulder injuries and everything so far, knock on wood. But I think anything that you can do just day to day to help reduce your risk of injury, it's going to save you a lifetime of hurt later on. So well, another fun one that we like to ask people too is what about diet? What are your favorite pre-workout meals and post-workout meals, favorite cheat meals if you do that, all that sort of stuff? There you go. Pizza. I think pizza's a pretty common favorite among strongmen.
Pizza's a favorite even amongst us moderately strong men.
I love cake and donuts and ice cream.
Andrew, do you guys have Duck Donuts by you? It's a chain here.
No, we don't.
So it's not the heavily processed stuff. They make it in front of you. Like they have the batter in the machine spinning, and you order. They're made to order. So I bring the kids. They get to watch them put the toppings on it. It's fresh as fresh can get. So if you ever somewhere where there's a Duck Donuts, try them out.
Yeah, definitely.
I was going to say, is the ice cream a pre-workout or a post-workout snack? Because, it melts pretty quickly, and all that dairy. I don't know if I'd want to go work out after eating a bunch of dairy.
Yeah, more like a weekend splurge type thing. But for me, I don't really have a specific diet right now, though, since I'm kind of all over the place with so much going on. But when I can, I try to, do meal preps to just so the food's there and it's available, and you can, it's easier to grab it and eat it instead of wandering around and you're hungry and then you just start eating whatever's in front of you. And it works pretty good if you can stick to it,
I typically I kind of do like a version of the vertical diet. A lot of rice, a lot of meat. It's funny. I got our gym host is Stan Efferning, and I asked him a question. I was like, "So, for your strongman athletes to get more carbs, what do you give them?" He's like, "Just eat more rice. That's all you got to do." I was like, "Cool. Well, it's that simple." And that's my brand. Simple, easy, to the point, and that's what I try to stick with. Cheat meals, especially during strongman Saturdays. Man, I gotta have some pancakes in the morning. Like that's my go-to for a pre-workout on the 3 or 4 hour strongman Saturday, and then probably dessert is a cheesecake. So
I am all about that cheesecake. That's definitely one of my top favorites. I was gonna say, with your pancakes, do you do like peanut butter or Nutella or something on it for just a little extra, or do you just do like pancakes and syrup or something?
Just pancakes and syrup, and then I get that good Irish butter. What I forget the name of it, but anyway, it's a lot richer butter, and man, it just tastes good. So that's what I go for.
Man, I really feel like I should be getting a kickback for all these product placements. But you ever try Kodiak cakes? They're like high protein pancakes.
I tried. I was gonna say I tried doing the Kodiak cakes because I think it was Costco was selling them for a while, and so I got a bunch of them, and then I realized that well, I have a bunch of protein powder at the house anyway, so I can just throw protein powder in my pancakes, and it's cheaper that way. But yeah, Kodiak cakes are pretty tasty. I will say that.
Yeah, I get the chocolate chip ones from Amazon. I get 6 boxes at a time. Make them for the kids, for the family. I make like maybe 30 or 40 of them for the week because we're not strongmen. That actually lasts us a week, and and we're good to go.
Yeah, we've had some. I like to church them up a little bit. I'll put a little vanilla extract in them, and a couple more eggs to get a little more protein in them. But
yeah, I throw more eggs in mine too.
Yeah, I'll definitely second Daniel here on a great pre-workout pancakes, man. If the mood is right, throw a little peanut butter in there, but it gets a little sticky later in the day if you put too much in there. So sometimes you just got to go with the butter. And then cheesecake is good. I can't argue with that, but a good warm blueberry pie, man. There's no arguments on my end for that for a snack. So.
What about blueberry cheesecake?
I do like blueberry cheesecake too, man.
I wouldn't do it warm though.
No.
Yeah.
Definitely want to be cold there.
I always like to get those fruit pies, blueberry pies, cherry pies. I get them from the farm. Those are the best ones.
That, speaking of the vertical diet, that I used to always cook my rice and water, but when I went to broth the first time, I never went back to water after that. Just that added flavor, that really helps, especially when you're eating rice so often.
So I actually I'll cook it down with coconut milk, and it gives it a little bit sweeter flavor, and get you some better fats in there too. So that gives me a little more calories that way too. So that's how I like to do it.
That's also trendy. That makes you cool with the kids these days.
I was gonna say, Dan, do you generally just do like white rice, or do you do like a jasmine or brown rice, or mix it up once in a while, or is it just the same old rice every time?
Jasmine and basmati. It's whatever's on sale at this point.
When you're eating that much of it, I definitely understand going for whatever's on sale. I feel like that's one of the things that Costco is really missing out on. They should be sponsoring more of these strongmen because, I mean, I feel like my wife and I go there at least once a month, and we spend, several $100 and to stock up on whatever. And sometimes we do it, 2 or 3 times a month, and just for extra stock up trips. I feel like most of the other strongmen that I know are doing stuff like that too. They spend a ton all at one go. So Costco's missing out, I think.
I think they're not only missing out on the food aspect. Costco has an automotive section. Don't they sell tires?
I don't know if they have any like 800-pound tires though. Most of the stuff that I've seen are just the smaller ones for cars and trucks. I'm not sure if they sell any of the big heavy equipment tires.
Just trying to give them a plug. What can you do?
Yeah, I definitely think Sam's and Costco are missing out on. Somebody should contact one of them about sponsorships or something. I don't know. 'Cause I do the same thing. I'm either at Sam's or Costco getting rice and meat and veg. Just you're getting so much of it.
Well, it's cheaper just to buy it in bulk and
Yeah.
throw it in the freezer and everything, and then and it all gets eaten anyway, so you might as well buy a bunch of it. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe we need to start a strongman food warehouse system of some sort. Strongman and powerlifting warehouse.
Might not be a bad idea.
Give me a day. I'll come up with a good business name.
Well, since we're on the topic of food, anyone raise their own beef or anything like that? I know for quite a while, my wife and my uncle always raises his own beef every year. So all of us cousins would get together and we'd butcher and cut and everything the meat all ourselves, and it saved a ton of money. And we were calculating it out, and we were like, we can get it down to like $1.98 a pound doing raising our own beef that way. But he just moved, so he doesn't have the property anymore, and so I need to find another farmer somewhere local and get another hookup. Well, so what's everyone working on for the next, what are your next year plans and all that sort of stuff? What are your 1-year goals?
Mine would definitely be to hopefully get the fabrication going and grow as a business. Just kind of keep trying to push forward, and my main goal is to help as many strong men and women as I can, as much as I possibly can. I can't do much right now, but just keep trying to push and expand in the business and keep moving forward. Hopefully the steel prices will level off at some point. They have to, I hope, but in the meantime, just, do what I can and keep working at it.
Yeah, and for people that don't know Andrew and Kratos Strength Equipment, he's humble, so I'll brag for him. Andrew, you've done a lot of charity shows with the community as well. I think you worked together with Justin Kielhofer once, where he was like deadlifting a fire truck or something like that.
We were going to do a local fire truck pull and raise money for the fire department. We had the fire department okayed it, and we had to get permission from the city, and then we were trying to get a bunch of strongmen in the area to come, and not everybody could fit it into their schedules, so we had to put it off to the side, and hopefully we're going to do it again. But it would have been a lot of fun, but it just didn't. We couldn't get enough people there for them to start the fire truck and get it out of the bill. I mean, it's quite a bit of a cost, and we got to kind of try to make it worth their while, but hopefully we can do it in the future.
Yeah, hopefully it does work out in the future. But yeah, anybody who's not supporting Kratos Strength Equipment, definitely head on over to the website and do so. Andrew's doing great stuff for the community, charity stuff. His business is making great quality implements, and just all around great guy in the community, and deserves your support.
Thanks, John.
So what about you, Dan? What are your 1-year goals?
Strongman Corp Nationals. I'm going to do my best to get on the podium, and then the Arnold after that. And would like to get a top 10 showing at the Arnold. If I do better, great. If not, then it is what it is. Right now, just focusing on trying to get a pro card at this point. As far as personal stuff, I'm working with some other veterans that I work with to start a website, and we're going to call it World's Strongest Veterans. So basically, it's going to highlight veterans that are doing just extraordinary things, around the country in all aspects of strength sport and mental toughness as well. So we're trying to get some guys that do like jiu-jitsu, strength, powerlifting, CrossFit. It doesn't matter. I I'd like to reach out to everybody in any kind of sport that's just going above and beyond and trying to live a healthy lifestyle and, giving them athlete highlights and then kind of doing what Carr does and promoting not just my stuff, but hopefully other veteran businesses as well. So that's in the works right now. I got a photographer and videographer that I've just worked with, and then get some graphic designer and website designer. So we're trying to work on that right now. So that's in the works. Hopefully within the next year, we'll get that up and running. So that's the goal right now. It's just promote the whole veteran community as a whole right now and bring everybody together. Because like everybody said, Strongman is such a great community and so much camaraderie. And I'd like to open that up to just everybody that we can.
You should reach out to Crispy Avila, Omar Crispy Avila. He works with Black Rifle Coffee Company, but he seems to know everybody, and he might be a good one to get on board with that because he's well, if you've looked him up on Instagram or anything like that before, he does motivational speaking and all that sort of stuff. But he's done some powerlifting shows and everything, even with the prosthetics and all that, and like he'd be a great guy to get on board with that.
Awesome. Yep. Thank you.
So what about you, Gary or Carr? Either of you?
Yeah, I can definitely go next, man. The original plan for this year, earlier this year, was Strongman Core Nationals, and then start training for next year's Nationals. Showing at US Strongman this year wasn't as good as we had kind of thought it was going to be. Made some mental errors in some aspects. Wasn't where strength-wise in the community where we thought we'd be. So we're going to hold off on Strongman Core Nationals this year. So right now I start week 1 prep for Legion Sports Fest Strongman in Reno in late October this week, actually, as soon as we're done here. I'm going to head out to the garage. But so that'll requalify me for Strongman Core Nationals next year. And then the whole focus of the next year, other than the couple of shows I'll do, Black Frost 2022, Empire Strongman Classic next year, and maybe America's Strongest Veteran again as well. But the whole focus of the next year will be getting ready for what I think could be pretty successful in Strongman Core Nationals next year, 2022.
That sounds awesome. Yeah. Dave was actually asking me the other day if I wanted to help him put together the Empire list and all that sort of stuff and help organize it. And I was like, well, I don't know if I want to, because I was a spotter loader at the last one. And I was like, I kind of want to compete. I don't spotter loader is fun. It's a good experience, but I was way more sore after doing that than actually just competing. And I was like, as fun as it was, carrying all, everything around all day long, I think I'd rather just do my one run and be done with it each time. So, we'll have to see. Maybe he'll pressure me some more or something to help out with that.
Dave's pretty good at getting people who didn't plan on doing spotting loading to suddenly show up and do spotter loaders. So, I wanted to do Empire this year, but it was 3.5 weeks before Nationals. So we opted to hold off and see what we could put up at US Strongman instead.
Yeah, that was probably a good decision. It was a great show. It was a super fun time. They had a ton of people show up for it. Because I was supposed to go last year and compete, and then everything happened with all that and blah blah. And then this year, like, I didn't have any access to anything to train for it. And so I found out about it just a little before and found out about 360 right before it and everything. So then I was like, well, it's too late for me to compete kind of this year. So I might as well just go watch and help out, basically.
Yeah, I spent a couple hours there in the crowd watching people compete before my kid got hangry and wanted chicken nuggets, and we bounced out.
That's awesome. What about you, Carr? What are your plans for the coming year?
You cut off. Was that to me?
Yeah, we were just asking, what are your plans for the coming year with Strongman and with Arsenal and all that sort of stuff?
So we've got some big events on the schedule already that I'm really hoping can kind of put Arsenal on the map. I sold my home gym and all my personal equipment and invested a lot to get it up and going. And it's still just personal investment. I haven't taken any money out of the account yet. It's just reinvested into new products or growing the inventory or things like that. So like I said before, the USPA approval is going to be huge for next year. And then we've got the 2022 Us Strongman Nationals, and Mammoth Bar is going to be out there for that. The Power Axle is going to be on the platform for Static Monsters Worlds Championships next year. And then later this year in November, Official Strongman Games is using the Mammoth Bar as the final bar of their deadlift ladder. So there's going to be a lot of visibility. So hopefully Arsenal can grow. And with that, the opportunity to give back more. Andrew's on board with it. We started, it's right now the Veteran Strength Coalition, and it's similar to what Dan's doing. He's trying to reach out and help other people. We wanted to do a battle of the brands is what we're calling it, but where veteran business owners compete head to head in a strongman competition for charity. So it's something stupid like a $250 entry fee, but everyone's competing on behalf of a charity, like a Dance for the Stars kind of thing. And the winner gets the pot and it goes to their charity of choice. So that's something that we have kind of talked about early this year, and I wanted to put it on for 2022. So hopefully if things open back up and I can put more time into it, because with the baby and work, it's been crazy with the baby and work and Arsenal. So trying to get all that going and keeping it going. But I'd really like to have that event happen because we discussed it, and the goal was to have it as an annual event. And every year, new veteran companies come in and they compete, and it gives them visibility and gives them the opportunity to give back as well. But it's all about getting it going, getting the involvement, and making it happen. So
That's awesome. Yeah, that sounds fantastic. I know, yeah, anytime you throw a kid into the mix, it seems like everything else just takes so much more work to get done. But
hey, Isaac, you mind if I share a good cause as well?
yeah, definitely go for it.
All right, let's go ahead and share my screen. Can you see that?
Yes, we can.
All right. Yeah. So I just wanted to mention, because this is relevant to our veteran theme of today, my good buddy Andrew Carroll runs the Center for American War Letters. So I thought I'd show our esteemed guests and our audience, anybody who's a veteran who may have a connection to war letters you'd like preserved for future generations. I think it's a great cause where, we take these unique memories and kind of keep them preserved the right way for future generations to understand what folks went through. So if anybody, either our guests or anybody watching, has any connections to war letters you'd like preserved by the folks that do it the right way, please reach out to me. I am My Block Strongest on Instagram. You can DM me there, and we'll put you together with Andrew and get that done.
Very cool.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that, John. Definitely. Yeah, so we're getting closer to the 2-hour mark. So I was going to say, John, is there anything else specific that you wanted to ask our guests while we have them, or any closing comments that you have before we give each of them a chance to have closing comments?
No, I'm just very grateful that all of you guys were able to jump on and share all of your wisdom with us, both from the military and from Strongman. And for our audience members, if you have not yet liked this stream, please go ahead and like it. And go ahead and subscribe to Hunger Smash Fitness, because why not? Isaac's providing you with some incredible content, and if you're not subscribed, you should be. So sometimes folks just need a little reminder. Also, take out that little sticky pad and remind yourself that as soon as he ends this broadcast, you should run over to My Block Strongest Man and subscribe there too. That's all I have to say. Thank you guys for jumping on.
Thank you, John.
Well, thanks. Yeah, thanks, John. So I guess starting with you, Dan, is there anyone you want to call out in particular? Any sponsorships that you want to mention? Anything like that? And we can give each of you a chance to do that as well.
So actually, as far as sponsorships, I don't have any. I'm going solo at this, so everything comes out of my pocket. I will do a shout out to my family and friends, for they're always supporting me, and my gym. I got a great community, so GP Athletics. Thanks for everything, guys. So yeah, that's all I got, guys. I appreciate you having me come on, and thank you so much.
Great to meet you.
Whenever people say they don't have a sponsor, I always shout out to my friends, Go Hard Labs, sponsor this guy.
Well, definitely.
Awesome
Yeah, we'll have to try and set you up with something then, I guess, Dan. But yeah. So what about you, Gary? Any sponsorships you want to shout out? Yeah, anything like that?
Yeah, man. Just like Daniel, I don't have any actual sponsorships. A couple of affiliations that I think we all have here and there, as best we can. Realistically, though, my biggest shout out does go out to both Andrew and Carr. I met them earlier this year before Nationals this year, and they've both been a wealth of information and just helpful friendship. And Andrew has great memes on his page, man. I mean, he's real good at those, getting them sent over. But no, for real though, like these two guys run stellar businesses, and I'm happy to wear their clothing and their gear, even without a sponsorship, which is okay, guys. But yeah, no, they make stellar stuff, and so if you're looking for new gear, these are the two guys to hit up, man.
Yeah, Andrew and Carr, do you guys do affiliate programs at all?
Yeah, I do. I do a lot of very loose, like affiliation sponsorships. I mean, I call it the Kratos Army, and it literally is an army. I mean, I reach out to anyone and everyone, and I'll help and sponsor as many people as I can. That's my ultimate goal, but I can't do much right now. But once I get more successful and get going, I'd like to help out even more.
Yeah, I mean, I'm telling everybody I know about you already, but yeah, just wanted to ask if you had an affiliate program.
Well, I'd offer to like wear a pair of those leggings or something for you, but I think that'd get you, more dislikes for your company than anything else. So we might have to withhold doing that for now.
They're getting popular now. It's crazy.
Your leggings are awesome, but you already have a lot of great strong women wearing them. I don't think you need Isaac.
Yeah.
Well, what about you, Carr?
Companies to shout out, or if I do the affiliate marketing. So I guess
both.
I get both.
Yeah, all of the above.
I don't really do any affiliate marketing. I've got a few close friends that have discount codes. There's no payout for it. I do some wholesale for gyms and things like that, but there's no direct affiliate marketing. But for companies to shout out, it's really just the guys involved with the Strength Coalition. I don't want to miss anyone, so I'm going to pull up our group chat. But it's Revis Strength. Revis Strength is Robert Spence out of Texas. He's making our grip shirts. They've got some sandbags coming out if they're not on the market already. His grip shirts are great. He's a great guy. I've known him through business for a little while now, a couple of years. Who else? Oh, I had the chat open and I closed it. Come back.
Chris at Beltfed.
What's that? Chris
at Beltfed, yeah.
Garber out of Beltfed Strength. If you or anyone you know or whatever need a belt, his not just the custom stuff, like he's got some general like floor model belts as well, but it's just quality hand done. But the level and degree to which he makes those belts for individuals is unmatched by anybody. He talks to him, he gets a feel for them, and then it's not just something embroidered on an outer shell, it's stamped and hand painted. Him and his wife and even his daughter now are doing it, and it's just phenomenal work. And that's Belt Fed Strength on Instagram.
Their belts are incredible. I mean, anybody who doesn't know Belt Fed Strength needs to get to know Belt Fed Strength.
Yeah, those belts are just phenomenal. And then Steve Welch with Skull Smash Ammonia, another vet-owned company. I think he has the original dry smelling salts. His scents are awesome. He's always doing something cool. He's got the Blood Eagle mead scented one now. My personal favorite is the menthol, the cold cocked, and then Raw Grip, the liquid chalk, and Kratos Strength. Kratos is doing apparel and stones right now, but he's working on doing some steel fabbing and welding as well. But looking forward to seeing more with Andrew with Kratos too. So
awesome. Well, thanks everyone. Yeah, this has been fantastic. Yeah, and if you want to shoot me links to those as well, I can make sure to add them to the description of the video here as well. We got there we go, Belt Fed Strength.
Yep.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for coming on, and yeah, this has been a blast. We'll have to try and do something like this again sometime soonish, whenever it arrives. But yeah, once again, this is Isaac with Hunger Smash Fitness. We have all of our guests here. Definitely go and check them all out on Instagram, all that sort of stuff. Check out Kratos Strength and Arsenal Athletics and the World's Strongest Veteran. And Gary, you're just Gary J. Plumley on Instagram, right?
Yeah, I don't have a cool name yet.
Okay. Hey, that's still a cool name.
Washington's most beautiful man. That's what I call him.
Hey, whoa, I'm his neighbor. Okay, we got not quite.
It's good to have your own name, because I go by my block strongest man. People talk to me, they don't know what to call me. They're like, my.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
I have one more shout out. I promised I'd make a shout out to Christine Matthews at Panda Power. If you go to Panda Power Central, go on her Instagram page, links in her bio. She's making apparel, and she's a phenomenal strong woman. She was at Alabama's Strongest this weekend, and she's a lightweight, and she entered the heavyweight women's, and she got first place. So she's doing good things.
That is not a first for Christine. So Christine was my third ever interview. So I met her after the Mammoth Strength Challenge, and she did the same thing. Lightweight, decided to go middleweight, and ended up heavyweight at the contest and came in second to Alila Worley.
Yeah, I met her through you, I think, last winter.
Yeah.
Christine's
awesome. Can't say enough good things about her. She's Panda Small but Swole on IG for anybody that doesn't know.
Yeah. And also our doors are wide open to any veterans. If any veterans out there are struggling, they need somebody to talk to, feel free to DM me, because I'm on Instagram 24/7. All I do is talk. I love to talk to people. I love to listen. So anybody that wants to reach out, please reach out. I love to talk to you. That's what we're here for, to help the veterans and help anyone in general, really. We're just here to lend a hand.
Definitely. Well, thank you very much. And same goes for me as well. If anyone's struggling or anything like that, definitely reach out. Don't suffer in silence. And I've had a number of friends that have had stuff happen in the past, just with everything else going on, and it's much better to reach out than to just take it quietly. But anyways, so I guess that'll be all for today. Once again, this is Isaac with Hunger Smash Fitness, and just remember to always improve that 1%.